everyone. We'll start with David Simpson. What is your plan for the economic downfall in Morris County due to falling production at U.S. Steel?
Well, one thing we've got to remember, the government's role is to provide a level playing field. Not all of our problems are going to be solved by government. And I'm thankful for the investment and the people there in Lone Star, the little town of Avenger that really my family is from, and greatly dependent upon it. One of the things we have done, thankfully, finally, after a long time, is we removed the ban on exporting oil. And I think that can help. We also need, and I've stood there and I've worked with that company and others to provide a level playing field. When China and Korea have not abided by our rules, I've stood up and encouraged the federal government to enforce the contract that we have with them and not to allow them to dump steel here in East Texas, violating their commitments and their agreement with the United States and our trade. The best thing we can do to help is to get government out of the way, to only be involved when you harm your neighbor, to leave people alone, to leave them free, to leave them responsible. And I think that will help not only Lonestar Steel in Morris County, but the oil and gas industry in a whole. Thank you.
Is it safe to say that you know what my answer is on that already? I think it probably is, but I want to add something else. You know, it's nice to say get government out of the way, and I agree with that. But there's a certain point where we have to say, okay, wait a minute. I expect my elected officials to be proactive, because see, I had to do that in the military. I couldn't wait for a problem to come up and then try to deal with it then. I had to look ahead, because if I didn't, people die. We've known for a long time that some of these things are coming down the pipe, and we've known that we're going to have a lot of people unemployed. Have you bought gas lately? $1.47 a gallon. Who didn't know that that was coming? My own intern over at the funeral home, her husband got laid off just last week. They don't know what they're going to do. You know, it's more than just being elected and saying, oh, I'm going to vote on this, I'm going to vote on that. If you truly care about the people, and I do, this isn't an ego thing for me. I care about people because I've been dead broke and I've had nothing. When I joined the Navy, I had one shirt, one pair of pants, no shoes. Well, I had 2 shoes, but they had the toe torn out, and I had no socks. I joined the Navy so that I could support my mother and my little brother. I know what it's like to be destitute and broke. We have a moral obligation to make sure that you never get in that situation. Can we guarantee it? No. But if we haven't done everything in our power to make sure that you have food on the table, that you can guarantee a roof over your children's head, that they have shoes on their feet, if we haven't done everything in our power, then we're a failure, and what good are we to you? My plan is to look ahead, to do everything I can to work with the local companies, to reduce their taxes, to go out and find more companies to come here to replace the ones who may go out of business. Because that's what you're doing. You're giving me a job to do exactly that. Thank you.
Lone Star, of course, has historically been a wonderful employer. Obviously, thousands, I guess over 10,000 at one time, back in the 80s. The biggest producer of oil field pipe really in the world at that time. And funny, it was an oil bust that helped hurt us back then as well. We understand that. Not near what it used to be. And what David was talking about, you're familiar with these trade wars, right? And so other companies, China and also South Korea, David, you'll recall, was cheating. They were cheating. And so David and I both worked with Lone Star, worked with Congress, and pushed back on those guys and got a little bit of relief there. Diversifying the economy makes sense. A couple things we find when we talk to employers, and I bet we could learn this from business people here. Regulation from the federal and the state government is killing jobs, and certainly an out-of-control EPA, right? We were talking about the war on coal earlier. That's not the only thing. Also, our oil and gas folks will tell you that regulations and limits from the federal government are killing us. Those are good, high-paying jobs. And if we can push back against the feds, like we're trying to do, if it means suing the feds. You remember how Governor Abbott, when he was Attorney General, used to say, I've got the best job in the world. I get up in the morning, I sue President Obama, then I go home. Y'all remember him talking about that? Amen. And I'll tell you, I'm so proud to get to do that now. We need more of that. Anytime we can sue the feds, put them on the defensive, and just get them out of our business, out of our lives, we're going to be fine. If we do, if the government's in its proper role, boy, this free market is turned loose. We all know how the free market works. It is the best opportunity. A good job, how many of us know a good job is better than any government program we could possibly come up with? If we can let the free market work, get the feds to leave us alone and get rid of these regulations that are just silly, we'll have plenty of jobs and plenty of prosperity.